Hello, and welcome back to MoJo JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the one and only Powerpuff Girls / JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alison.
Today we're going to be talking about the JoJo episodes A Race Toward the Brink and Young Caesar. I don't think we have any new PPG or JoJo news today, so we can start talking about the episodes whenever you're ready.
Okay, so this is A Race Towards the Brink. JoJo bursts in as Cars attacks von Stroheim, only to realize he's a mechanical man. JoJo admires von Stroheim's hardware and German technology. He tells JoJo to sit down while he takes on Cars. Cars says he will take on JoJo once he has the stone. A whole lot of shit talking happening back and forth between them, like, just sit down while I beat him up and then I'll take you on. And then, no, I'll take you on. Blah, blah, blah. Von Stroheim is almost twice San Viento's strength, and oddly, a machine gun pops out of his belly area and opens fire on Cars. Lisa, and crew hear the commotion. Cars can control the light and has a bone blade that can deflect the bullets. The blade glows and has little blades moving around it like a chainsaw. Von Stroheim says all is lost and Cars picks him up. So I think at this point, like, he loses an arm. Von Stroheim does. But then later we see him and he's just like a torso. So I don't know if I missed part of the fight or if they just didn't show those parts.
Yeah, I'm not sure I remember either, which is bad.
And then I think at some point, Cars also said that San Viento was but a child. So the mechanical parts that had been used to rebuild Stroheim von Stroheim was supposed to make him twice as strong as San Viento, but then we learned from Cars, like, ha ha ha, but he was just a child. So they based it on, like, maybe not great measurements or whatever.
Like a Padawan instead of a Jedi Master.
Yeah, JoJo contemplates running away, but can't let him take the stone. Cars finds the stone on von Stroheim. JoJo stops him. Von Stroheim sends out an ultraviolet beam from his eye. Cars drops the stone and it slides along the ice and snow towards a cliff. So they've tumbled outside at some point. Lisa, Caesar, and Machina find the destruction from the fight. JoJo and Cars race towards the stone. Cars tries to psych JoJo out. JoJo gets the stone, but they both go over the edge. Cars' blade is going into JoJo's body. JoJo grabs some ice and stops their fall. The ice breaks. Cars kicks JoJo and attempts to slice up JoJo. JoJo stops him by telling him he can't risk breaking the stone. JoJo sends Haman through the icicles and attempts to climb them like a rope, with Caesar holding on at the top. Von Stroheim is a torso without an arm. Like, sometimes they move around and then you see different stuff. So I'm like, I was surprised there because I was like, okay, he lost an arm, but why is he now just a torso? Like,
yeah, I must have missed that part too while I was taking notes.
Machina says they can work together if he can stop being so haughty. I guess Machina talking to von Stroheim. He's always like, I am superior. Cars ping pongs at the bottom of the crevice, then laughs and walks away. JoJo teases, so then I don't know, moved to something else, a different point in time. JoJo teases a fancy cat. He has 5 days to get the second antidote. The group checks out an abandoned hotel that they deduce Cars must be hiding in. JoJo says it has to be most dangerous in daylight. So he thinks because, like, over thousands of years, that they must have figured out how to protect themselves during the daytime, and he thinks it would be more dangerous for some reason to go in the daytime instead of waiting until night, although you would think it would be the opposite, but
yeah,
that they must have some sort of protections or booby traps or something set up while they're not able to go out in the light. They must wait for Cars to move first. Caesar says they must strike before Wamu shows up. He wants to avenge their grandfathers. JoJo says it's dumb to die for ancestors they didn't even know. Caesar attacks JoJo. Lisa says they must wait for cars to make a move, but Caesar says it is a matter of family honor. Caesar takes off and Lisa has Machina go after him. Lisa says JoJo touched a nerve about Caesar's past, and that's the end.
So once Cars like ricochets down there like a ping pong, he says basically that he'll just let JoJo have the stone for like one more day. Like he doesn't even care that he has it for now because he's so sure he's gonna get it back. So I think that kind of shows just like maybe like how arrogant Cars is and how self-assured he is that he thinks, yeah, they might have the thing that I need tell me walk out in the daylight again, but I'm really the one who has the upper hand.
I mean, they know JoJo has to show back up in order to get the antidote, I guess. But he could do something with the stone. He could put it also on a train to somewhere else in the meantime.
Yeah.
Or bury it or something. They could have made that part of the deal. Like, hey, now we're changing it to you have to bring the stone in order to get the antidote. I'm not really sure what happened with von Stroheim after that. Is he just out in the snow as a torso? Like, what?
Yeah.
I guess maybe he could still survive that way if he's like mostly machine.
I just assume maybe he had more Nazi buddies around and they like picked him up or something. I have no idea. I don't remember what happens. But obviously they don't have him with them when they do follow Caesar to get to the hotel.
I just thought it was sort of funny too, these scenes. Like it was just like Lisa, and Caesar were kind of like they were like one step behind everything happening. Like they found where the wall had been busted out and everything, and it's like, how come you guys aren't with JoJo?
Maybe JoJo like got up to like pee or something, and then that's why he just came out there without everyone else. And so then they didn't think it was any big deal that he left. I don't know, something he just needed to go do real quick by himself.
What do you think about? I know we're gonna see in the next episode, but like Caesar insisting because he's got to avenge his family, but I mean they're gonna go.
Yeah.
It's not that they're saying they're not going to fight them. And then he's being insistent, even though, like, him going by himself is probably not the greatest idea.
Yeah.
They just, like, think that another plan is wiser. Like it can't just wait another 12 hours or something.
Yeah, he's just being like too damn impatient. Like, their grandfathers have been dead for like 50 years at this point. I think they can wait a few more hours to like get vengeance on them. Not like this is just like freshly happened. It's fresh in Caesar's memory. He wasn't even born yet. JoJo's dad wasn't even born yet.
Like I kind of see like what JoJo said kind of set him off, but it just was like pretty foolhardy.
Yes. Yeah, Caesar is just like can be really like hot-headed and foolhardy, like especially when it comes to his family's honor, it seems like. He just cares about that more than like anything, apparently even more than like his own life. So he just recklessly decides, you know what, I'm going there by myself. So now we're going to talk about young Caesar, and we start off in some flashbacks. We learn that Caesar was the son of Mario Zeppeli, and that Caesar idolized his father, who was a proper Italian man and an accomplished furniture maker. I don't know if that means he's like a carpenter, but they said furniture maker specifically, so that's what I wrote down. That is until Mario abandoned Caesar and his siblings. What little money they had left was stolen by their shitty relatives. Caesar became a delinquent, committing every crime short of murder. I like to imagine then that it means he committed tax evasion. And rebuking his family name and Italian pride. At 16, he came across his father, intending to kill him for abandoning him as a child. While stalking Mario, Caesar came across the wall that contained the Pillar Men, the ones that we're fighting right now. There was a gem in there which he attempted to grab, but it was booby trapped, and Caesar was almost absorbed into the wall when his father saved him and was absorbed instead. Mario, not recognizing him, told him to seek out Lisa and learn the ways of Haman. Lisa tells JoJo that after that, Caesar finally felt pride in his family name again, once he learned more about Hamon and his family history. JoJo is impressed by Caesar and his story and decides to go after him in the hotel with Lisa and Machina. When Caesar arrives at the hotel, he is set upon by an invisible opponent. Wamo uses the moisture in the air to both protect himself from the sunlight and reflect the light around him. Machina catches up to Caesar, who at this point is standing still in front of the hotel so as not to provoke attack, when he is taken down by Wamu and dragged inside the building. Machina, that is. Wamu comes back out to fight Caesar, but Caesar is ready for him, using a perfected version of one of Wille Zeppeli's Hamon attacks. He throws his signature bubbles at Wamu, injuring him and forcing him back into the hotel. Caesar follows him in, where he finds the unconscious Machina lying on the slab. I do think, after all that, he probably is dead, but at the time when I was writing it, I wasn't totally sure.
I thought he looked green, so I was like, I don't think he's alive, but it could just be, like you had said, the coloring.
Yeah, the color palette in the show, changes and bounces around quite a lot, so it could just been, for that purpose. Caesar and Wamu hurl wind and bubbles back and forth at one another as Lisa and JoJo follow his trail. Lisa is horrified to find Machina's severed arm and a trail of blood leading back into the ruins of the hotel. At this point, Caesar seems to have the upper hand, using his bubbles and a hole in the wall to refract sunlight in Wamu. However, as Caesar goes to kick Wamu, his shadow briefly passed over Wamu, blocking the sunlight. Wamu used this opportunity to call forth his divine sandstorm. Caesar is brutally injured and seemingly unable to continue his fight. Wamu says he hadn't had a fight like that in some time, and he's glad that he was there instead of Cars, who couldn't use the power of wind to defeat Caesar. He tells Caesar that he has nothing left, that the divine sandstorm shredded him beyond survivability. But Caesar gets up again and tries to fight anyways, although he's bleeding out. Wamu tells him goodbye and makes the leave when Caesar grabs his lip ring with the antidote and falls backwards onto the ground. Caesar gives a speech about the Zeppeli family saving the Joestars and the human spirit. Then, with one last burst of Hamon, he sends a blood bubble with his bandana tied around the ring into the air, hoping it will get to JoJo. A piece of the ceiling shaped like a cross falls on him, ultimately killing him. Wamu, finding Caesar to be honorable and courageous, lets the bubble go, and then he leaves. I'm apparently more of a dick than Wamu, because I would have popped the bubble and then taken the ring back. I would not have let them have that advantage. JoJo and Lisa finally arrive inside the hotel and see the damage. The blood bubble lands in Joseph's grasp, and he feels within the energy of the Hamon that Caesar died, though he doesn't want to believe it. He frantically searches for Caesar within the rubble, but finds only blood. Lisa says there is no time to mourn, but in her grief, she puts her cigarette in her mouth backwards. She and JoJo weep and mourn together, though they are in the middle of enemy territory. And if Ben Diskin didn't at least get nominated for his performance in the scene, I am pissed on his behalf. Bro really sounded like he'd lost his best friend. Something about the way men are allowed to cry and mourn their fallen friends in the show is wholesome in a way I don't usually see outside of Lord of the Rings. They have definitely displayed toxic masculinity and misogyny in the show thus far, but letting JoJo cry like that over Caesar was not one such moment. Genuinely one of the best things about the show for me, and I'm glad it's something we will see carried onward throughout the series. The love and camaraderie these big, badass, muscle dudes have for each other. And I also just think it's important for boys and men to see that it is okay to cry, especially when something like that happens and you lose a friend.
I concur.
Sorry, that was too much of a speech, but I just was really feeling it there.
So, right before that, Lisa says that they must finish the fight, that it would be 2 against 2. So Cars and Wamu against her and JoJo.
Yeah.
They must pursue them.
I think that's part of what confirmed for me that Machina probably is dead, because otherwise she would have been 3 against 2.
Well, except they pulled his arm off, so I'm not sure he'd be, even if he was alive, not really
Yeah.
Because they're good at Hammond, but I don't know that they can just throw their arm back on one of the pillar men and it reattaches or whatever.
Yeah, I highly doubt it.
I'm just sort of questioning these other Zeppeli children. They just showed almost a photograph really briefly. So how many are there? What happened to his brothers and sisters? From Caesar's little family.
Yeah.
And then part of like when he was being a delinquent, it said even the mafia feared him. And then he kind of began using Haman in fights, even though he didn't, I don't think, realize he was doing it. And then the part about like his father didn't abandon them, but he 100% did.
Yeah, I call bullshit on that too. He just fucking left them. It's not even like he left them in the care of like proper guardians or something. Like he could have even like brought them with him maybe to training, like in I don't know, like Lisa has like other servants. Like maybe they could have kept track of the kids. I don't know.
Yes, like something. I don't know how old the oldest child was, if Caesar was the oldest, but at least like warning them and maybe even setting them up, like to maybe where they could take care of themselves. But it's like, and again, we don't know what happened to the other kids, but they kind of sounds like they ended up in the street.
Yeah.
So like Wamu with his he was like it said he was basically cloaking himself with his was it wind again?
Yeah, the wind.
And then I liked him calling Caesar a bubble user.
I thought you might.
And I think he said it more than once, so it's just like his way of kind of like, I don't know, almost like dismissing him, or maybe that's just how he thinks of Caesar in
Yeah.
his head. He doesn't know his name really, but he's like, it's the bubble user again. And I was just sort of surprised that they killed Caesar here, but he did kind of rush off on his own, even though they would have backed him up. They just didn't think it was wise to go at that time. They wanted Cars to show his hand, I guess, first.
He just didn't have like the kind of plot armor to like get him through that he thought he had, I think.
I think he thought like they should go after Cars before Wamu got there, but Wamu was already there.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression too. That he uh, thought Wanda wasn't there already to strike. I mean, they really pulled the let's finally talk about their sad backstory and then kill him off move.
And that stuff might have been more important, like during their training, to kind of talk about like what's each other's weaknesses or whatever, like
Yeah.
before we go into battle. I mean, they had a whole month.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they really trained against each other very often because it seemed like they trained more against Machina and logs. So I don't know how often like that would have come up. Like JoJo, you have a blind spot here. Caesar, don't bring up this.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, they do have like a history together, so I'm just kind of surprised. I mean, maybe they're just like exhausted at the end of the day and didn't really hang out together. But I
Maybe.
feel like maybe Lisa should have encouraged it. But I mean, again, like I guess a month is a long time, but then it's not because some of them trained like years with the Haman.
Right.
But like Lisa knows their backstory and everything too, or at least Caesar. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like maybe it, or like, hey, don't bring up the family because he's going to be hot headed about it. Like, even just like a sentence or two to JoJo.
Yeah. Last minute. Oh,
Because
by the way.
it definitely would have been a topic
Yeah.
that came up given their histories. But okay, so do we want my wild predictions? I don't really have one right now, but I'm like, what could happen next?
Sure, hit me with them.
I don't really have any, but I'm just like, we could guess. So, like, there's one Pillar Man down, but they are down Logs and Machina and Caesar. Like, Lisa's pretty talented. JoJo's basically a beginner. Don't feel like it's looking good. And I'm kind of like, please don't kill Lisa.
Yeah. Would not be great.
And we still haven't, like, went back to Granny Arena and Speedwagon. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I would like to see a little bit of that, but I'm thinking maybe we won't because they have to pursue and destroy the Pillarmen. And then Lisa said they needed the stone to kill them, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know how that's gonna work, right?
It seemingly no one does. They're just like, I don't know, it'd probably help kill him.
And we don't know if von Stroheim is alive. I kind of feel like maybe he is. They're gonna patch him up again but maybe not as great this time. He's gonna have some horribly constructed body because they're gonna have to do it quickly. He didn't have like a ton of time to rebuild him. I don't know. I guess I don't really have. I haven't really the future, but
yeah, she'll rise again to yell more about German engineering.
yes, he'll be an asset. The Germans wanted that stone to study, though. Maybe they
Correct.
will help come up with how to. Maybe they have to shine light through it onto the Pillar Men or something. I don't
I can't even spoil that for you because I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched part 2.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not asking you to spoil it, but I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Sometimes I just can feel myself like accidentally almost going there, and I'm like, nope. And then I'm like, wait, I don't even know. It's really bad because I have watched part 2 all the way through twice now, and I don't remember.
maybe it doesn't play.
Thrice now, I should
Maybe
say.
it doesn't play that
Almost.
big of an important part, or like it's happened so briefly that it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I know they're protecting this stone and everything, but then if they defeat the Pillar Men, what are we fighting next?
Oh, you'll see.
There's even more Pillar Men. These guys are just teenager Pillar Men, and there's like young adult Pillar Men. These are tween Pillar Men. Big grandpa Pillar Men.
It's like The Sims. We got with the different life stages of the Pillar Men. They're like San Viento was the baby. These are the toddlers.
Yeah. We've got Pillar Men in space. Pillar Men on the moon. They're on Mars.
Like calling Mars before anyone else.
And any of that stuff that I just hypothesized. If you think it's stupid, you can delete it out of there. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Pillarmen's in space and all that.
I'm really keeping the Pillar Men in space.
Pillarmen's on Mars.
Yeah. It's making me think of the Whalers on the Moon song in Futurama, but like Pillar Men on the moon. Pillar Men on Mars.
They might have hitched a ride like back in the 60s.
All right, so I guess that's all for this episode. That's all we're discussing about those two. Next week, we will be discussing the episodes 100 Against 2 and A True Warrior. So stay tuned for that. We have 3 more episodes of the podcast to record, and then we will be getting back to Powerpuff Girls. We'll be starting season 2 of that. Thank you so much to everyone who has listened to the show, has downloaded, left reviews. Leave if you haven't already left a review, you could leave one now.
We would like some feedback, and if you have a friend that you think would enjoy the show also, please share.
Yeah, we would love the feedback. We'd love to hear what people enjoy about the show. Share with a friend who already likes JoJo. Share with a friend you're trying to get into JoJo. Or Powerpuff Girls, or both. If you are listening to this on YouTube, also, it would be super great. You would subscribe to the channel and hit those like and comment buttons. Until next time, I'll be the roundabout. Goodbye.
Goodbye.